What up, boys? Today is April 24th, Friday, April 24th, 2026. Today I made, let me check. Today I made $13,077 trading NASDAQ, which puts me up $47,444.95 on the week, trading both indexes. Pretty good week. I went 4-1 on the week. Yeah, 4-1 on the week. Took a loss on Monday and then won the rest of the week. So it was a pretty busy week. I normally don't trade all 5 days, but a lot of good setups. So, and that loss on Monday, it was dumb. Like I should have went break even and I didn't, and I ended up getting stop rated. So overall, a really great week. Hopefully next week can be even better. But we'll get into this trade recap. So my buys today was bullish, obviously, because we were at all-time highs. And as I've been saying this whole week, if you are not long, you are wrong. We are at all-time highs, and we have this high right here. This was the only real draw on liquidity for the day, and then for ES, this was the only real draw on liquidity for the day. But it's all-time highs. You shouldn't be shorting unless we get an inverse fair value gap. Unless we inverse both of these gaps, maybe we break structure on the hourly. Like again, it has to be a high time frame break of structure to the downside or inverse fair value gap for me to flip my bias and want to go short, which actually almost happened today. I'll go over everything because today was a really, really technical day. Like a day you had to be super patient and you could learn a lot from today. So I'll try my best to go over my entire thought process and how I ended up taking a winning trade. But yeah, let's get into market open. So obviously we have these highs marked out. I have London session highs, London session lows, Asia highs, Asia lows marked out on both indexes, just because that's what I do every morning. And then also I have these hourly gaps that I have marked out because essentially what I anticipated happening today was we were going to get some sort of retrace into either this hourly gap and even this hourly gap down here that was going to send us higher to take out these highs. That was my plan for the day on both indexes. I thought both indexes were going to get a super deep retrace, break structure on the 5 minute to the downside. Everybody was going to be trying to short this move down into these gaps, and then we were going to get some accumulation, and then from there we were going to distribute higher to take out this high on ES and then this high on NASDAQ. That was my plan for the day. So I was already coming in planning to be super patient. I wasn't going to take shorts unless we inverse this hourly gap. That was the only way I was going to take shorts, because if we inverse this hourly gap, get a retrace back up here on the 5 minute, maybe there's like a fair value gap or something, then I would be willing to take shorts down to these lows, and all of these lows down here. So that was my bias today. I really honestly didn't know what market was going to do. So coming into today, I was already planning on being super patient, maybe taking a later session trade, which I did end up not necessarily taking a later trade, but today's trade was super long. Like holding through all the different stuff that happened today. So let's get into it. Market opens and we do exactly what I said we were going to do, which is come into that first hourly fair value gap on NQ. Again, after we come into that high time frame manipulation, now I'm looking for a change in order flow on the 5 minute, just because we are bearish right now on the 5 minute. We broke structure to the downside on NQ. ES, we also broke structure to the downside. So 5 minutes telling us bearish, high time frames telling us bullish. We have to wait until the time frames align. At least that's how I trade. I wait for the 5 minute time frame to align. What does that mean? I need to wait for a 5 minute inverse for value gap, 5 minute break of structure on both indexes for them to both align, and for them to both align with the 5 minute going back to the upside. So that's what I was waiting for. As you can see, let's go back to Thursday really fast. So if you remember what happened on Thursday, we actually came and we tapped into this 15-minute gap, but we were still bullish on the 5 minute. So that's why after we tapped into the 15-minute gap, the only thing I was waiting for was the 1 minute, because we never broke structure to the downside on the 5-minute. So there was no need to wait for a 5-minute change in order flow because we were still in a 5-minute uptrend. Today was different than yesterday, where I wasn't just going to take the first gap that we inversed because the 5-minute time frame was bearish. So now I had to wait for price to show me bullish confluences. So next 5-minute candle comes, we're still kind of playing around this gap. We're not breaking structure. We're not really doing anything. There's nothing to inverse, and ES is showing that it wants to go lower. So again, if we inverse this gap, then shorts are in the play for me. So I'm literally just sitting on my hands and waiting. If we go down to the 15-minute, there's also this lower high time frame. It's like a lower high time frame fair value gap. This is what I count, because technically this is the entire hourly fair value gap, but this is the 15-minute bottom gap of the hourly, which would be the gap that I would want to see price come into, because I love my 15-minute fair value gaps. I've been taking trades off of them all week. We actually were in one too in pre-market, but this was the one I wanted price to come down into and then hopefully send us back up. So again, just sitting and waiting, and at this point we are 10 minutes into market open. Still no change in order flow on the 5-minute. We're just getting down candles. Now we actually do end up retracing into this second hourly fair value gap, which is perfect. So now I'm just waiting for, again, a change in order flow back to the upside. We kind of chop around for a little bit on this gap, nothing really crazy. And then this candle breaks structure on the 5-minute. So a common theme that I saw today especially was, I'll pause here really quick. So we inverse this hourly fair value gap, right? And a common theme that I saw a lot of people doing today was we inverse hourly fair value gap. So there were some people who saw the inversion of the hourly, the 5 minutes in a bearish trend, and they were thinking, oh, we should short down to these lows. No. Why? Because we have this 15-minute fair value gap that we just wicked and gave a huge rejection wick off of. Huge rejection wick to the upside. So shorting here wouldn't make any sense, even though we inverse this first gap. Why? Because there's literally another gap right underneath it. That this is the real fair value gap. When you have two fair value gaps stacked up, the one that's on the bottom is the real fair value gap. Even though we inverse this one, we still have to inverse this one before I'd be willing to take shorts. And what do? We tap right into that 15-minute fair value gap, exactly what I said. So now I'm just waiting for a 5-minute change in order flow to the upside, and then I can continue with the rest of my confluences. So we form this really nice rejection wick that we actually do end up rejecting off of. So price taps back into this rejection wick, give us a nice rejection off of that. On the 15-minute, if we look at ES, same kind of thing. We have this bottom fair value gap right here that it's, I don't know why I just did that, but we have this bottom fair value gap right here that it's respecting, gave us a nice rejection wick. Price comes back into it and then rejects off of that rejection wick. So all great things happening right now for me. Now I am actually sitting up a little bit, because before I was, not willing to trade. I didn't know where price wanted to go. Now I'm kind of sitting up a little bit. We broke structure to the upside. Okay, now we get a change in order flow on NASDAQ. Do we get it on ES? We don't have anything yet. But for NASDAQ now, I'm looking at the next step of my plan, which is a 5-minute retrace into equilibrium. So if we keep looking, we wick up above these highs. Nothing really crazy. We get that equilibrium retrace, but ES still hasn't shown, or no, ES actually did break structure to the upside here. So now ES closed above this high, so now we're in an uptrend on both 5-minute indexes. Let's mark this out really quick. So this was the high that I was waiting for ES to close above, this candle and this candle. We closed above it right here. Now we're in an uptrend on the 5-minute on ES, which is what I was waiting for. And NQ at the same time is also giving me the next step in my plan, which is 5-minute retrace. So we get this 5-minute retrace into equilibrium on NQ. And ES at the same time is now showing me that it wants to be bullish. So now both of our indexes are in line. We get that retrace. Now the only thing I'm waiting for is an inverse fair value gap, and I would throw stops underneath these lows, and then first take profit would be, first take profit today was, here, I'll go over take profits in a second because I'll actually show where I entered and what I targeted. So anyways, now at this point, I'm just waiting for, I'm just waiting for a 1 minute inversion. So it would be this gap right here on NQ, because now both of our indexes are in line and I want to take the trade on NASDAQ. So we're waiting for that 1 minute inverse. And it's super late in the market. You see, like, we're at 10:30 at this point by the time we actually get that inversion. So pretty late day for me, but I was willing to wait. Like I said, we get this huge up candle right here. So this is where I entered. I probably got filled somewhere like up here. I don't honestly remember where I got filled exactly, but it was off of that inverse. My stops were underneath these lows, but I'll go over it in a second because I actually did some trailing today, and I'll explain why I did that too. First take profit was this unfilled 5 minute fair value gap, just because we did have the potential to reverse. Or no, sorry, that was my second take profit. I'll go over my first take profit in a second. Second take profit was this 5 minute fair value gap because I felt like we had potential to reverse off of it, and then the final take profit was obviously these highs up here, because that was my goal for the day. So obviously I'm in this trade already. At the same time, ES has these highs up here. ES has, sorry, I'm trying to remember what I was thinking while I was taking this trade. So ES has those highs, and it's paired right with a 5 minute fair value gap that hasn't been tested, right? Or tested as much. So this was actually my TP1 on NASDAQ. Like, I was looking for ES to take out those highs, but what I did first was, if NASDAQ took out these 5 minute equal highs, I trailed my stop here. So I was like, okay, if NASDAQ takes out these highs right away, I'm going to trail my stop a little bit just so I don't lose as much. Because in my opinion, if we take out these highs, we're either going to go straight up or we're going to reverse all the way back down. We're not going to reverse, come and sweep out these highs and then go higher. That's not what price would want to do. Like, you know, you also got to think about, it's 10:35. Like, an hour has already passed since market open. We're reaching that point where the volume is starting to come out of the market. So you don't want to be caught in these long trades where price is, you know, chopping, just being super choppy. So in my head, I was like, my stop is here, and I risked based off of my stop being here. But what I did was, as soon as NQ took out these highs, if NQ took out these highs before coming and stopping me out, I was going to move my stops to these lows and then add to my position. So I think I was in for like 3 contracts on this account, and I added another 2 after we took out these highs. So as you can see, if we just let this play out really fast, I think, yeah. So we end up taking out these equal highs. As soon as that happened, I moved my stop to these lows to, 1, take risk off the table, and then 2, because I just had that analysis of, okay, either we're going to come sweep out these highs and then we're going to go flood the face for the rest of this, or we're going to come sweep out these highs and we're just going to flood the face to the downside. Like, I was not worried about price wicking this out, coming down here, not taking out these lows, and then moving higher. That wasn't even a thought in my brain. I was like, we're either going to go now or we're not going to go. But I also didn't want to move stops to break even, because there just wasn't enough room for it to work, in my opinion. If I move stops to break even here, that only gives me like 50 to 100 ticks for price to work, and that's not enough room. Price could easily come back down, stop me out at break even, and then go higher, which actually I think is what would have happened, because did we come back down to break even? I really don't know. anyways, that was the reason I did that today. I just kind of wanted to explain that. And then, like I said, as I moved my stop, I added more to my position. I did this on all my accounts because I was super confident that we were going to take out this draw and this draw. And then my take profit one was these highs on ES. So I'll explain that too. ES has these 5-minute highs here and also this unfilled fair value gap, right? In my head, I'm like, okay, this could be a case where ES would want to come up, sweep out these highs, and then reverse. So what did I do? My TP1 on NASDAQ would have been all the way up here, and I just wasn't comfortable leaving my first take profit and not moving my stop to break even for so long, because in my head, well, ES has the potential to sweep out these highs, come into this unfilled fair value gap, and then go back to the downside. And NASDAQ would, of course, follow, and I would get stopped out. So ES taking out these highs was my take profit one, and I moved my stop to break even. So I think it did here. If not, I can. Yeah, we did. So we wicked out these highs on ES. That was my TP1, where I managed half of my position and moved my stops to break even. So now my stops are break even, and we just have these two take profits left. I didn't even look at ES for the rest of the day. No, I did. That's a lie. I will explain that as well in a little bit. But anyways, now we're at a break even trade. No risk on the table. And as you can see, after some tough candles, we actually sat in here for a little bit. This was super stressful to watch because in my brain, I just wanted Bryce to just go and wick it out already. Like, I wasn't being emotional because I didn't take the trade off of emotions, but like, bro, we were just chopping around for 10 minutes. It was kind of weird. Like 10 ticks away from my take profit. So after chopping around for a little bit, we hit take profit 2. So I managed more partials there. At this point, I think I only have runners left up to these highs because, like I said, I wanted to get most of my position out by this fair value gap because of the potential of reversal that we had. So that was my initial thoughts. I thought, well, price has the potential to reverse off of this and go back to my break even. So because of that, I am going to take most of my position off, and I think I had like one contract left on my live account and then a couple contracts left on my Top Step account. And after a little bit more chop, we get a Drake candle that sends us straight to TP. So yeah, chop, come down a little bit, just chop up some more, and then this Drake candle to the upside sends us to TP on both indexes. As you can see, my draw was spot on for the day. This hourly high was the target on both ES and NASDAQ. As I said at the beginning, we were going to come into these hourly gaps, then we were going to distribute higher to those highs. I mean, it's literally perfect market analysis, and it's not anything I'm doing. I'm more just reading what price is giving me, and it's super easy right now, especially at all-time highs. And that's something that can be said is like, trading doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to, know all the different types of the SMTs or what fair value gaps do what, or like, bro, you just come on here, with a strategy, and you wait for your strategy to happen. If it doesn't happen, you don't take a trade. That's it. Like, you saw it step by step. I'm going through it step by step. Okay, first we come into this hourly fair value gap. Now what am I waiting for? Well, the 15-minute fair value gap too. Okay, we tapped in. Now what am I waiting for? 5-minute change in order flow. Where do we get that 5-minute change in order flow? Right here when NQ breaks structure. Now what are we waiting for? ES to break structure. Okay, where do we get that 5-minute break of structure? Right here. Perfect. Now both of our indexes are in 5-minute bullish order flow. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find the words. 5-minute bullish order flow. Now what am I waiting for? The next step in my strategy, which is a 5-minute retrace. Okay, cool. I mark out equilibrium. NASDAQ comes down, sweeps out, comes into equilibrium. Perfect. Now I have my 5-minute retrace. Let's get down to the 1 minute. What am I looking for? 1 minute, change in order flow back to the upside. What is that? A break of structure and inverse fair value gap. We actually get both. Well, we get a break of structure right here. You could have entered off of that. I like this inverse gap more. Okay, cool. We inverse the gap. Enter. Set your stops. And set your take profits. And that's it. Like, obviously, today was a little bit more complicated for me. But that's just because that's how I wanted to manage my position. You could have literally just kept your stops here the whole time and not moved to break even at all, and you still would have won today. You could have put your stops here and you would have won today. You could have put your stops here and you would have won today. Like, it really, not to say it doesn't matter where you place your stops, but at the end of the day, like, as long as you're taking a trade based off of your strategy and you're confident in where price is going to go, then there's nothing really wrong with the trade. Like, if you could have just taken profits at 1-to-1 and been done for the day. That was another thing you could have done. So many different ways to trade, but at the end of the day, as long as you are using your market analysis and you understand that the higher time frame trend is always going to tell you where prices wants to go. Price manipulated into this higher time frame fair value gap. We distributed off of it. Super easy, like clockwork, and that's how I make 5 figures in a day just trading. Like, that's it. You just go down your checklist. Look at all these different things as they happen. Okay, now, and then you just place the trade and you're confident. You're confident that your setup is going to play out. And it did today for me. So yeah, that's about 50 bands on the week. It's a really good week for me. It's my first week trading with this much capital. I'm not going to lie. Like, seeing those numbers and seeing those totals, like, it's kind of insane for me. But at the same time, I know this would be the same if I was just trading one funded account. You know, even if I had $50,000 in capital, like, on one Top Step account, like, I would still be taking these great trades because the number of capital or that P&L number doesn't really mean anything. Like, yeah, it's cool that I have 5-figure days, but at the end of the day, it's the same trades. Like, the same trades that I'm taking or the same trades that you're taking if you're using this strategy. Like, the P&L doesn't really, don't get caught up in the P&L. That will kill your trading journey trying to focus on the P&L more than the strategy itself. Learn your strategy, master your strategy, and trust it. We're at all-time highs, so stop shorting. Like, honestly, stop shorting. Keep longing until we get that huge retrace that would send us lower, like a closure under these lows. Like I said, just wait. Like, if price is only showing you bullish confluences, stop trying to short just to try and prove something to yourself. Like, just follow the market. The market will tell you everything you need to know. That's about it for today. Hopefully you learned something. This was a super technical trade. Usually I'm not this technical with my stop losses and all that, but I don't know. I felt like doing it today and it played out. So it could have easily not went in my favor, but hey, that's trading. Like, trading, at the end of the day, it's just educated gambling. Maybe sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you win more than you lose, then you're considered profitable. So this week's been really good for me. Hopefully next week I can keep it up. And yeah, hopefully you all learned something today about how to trade all-time highs and how to use high time frame manipulation, how to follow your strategy. I mean, there's so much sauce in these videos that you can take. And I'm happy to give it out because at the end of the day, like, I was also an unprofitable trader at one point. And, you know, now obviously I make good money from trading. So it's like, why not come on here and share what I think about the markets? And maybe, just maybe, at least one person will watch this video and learn something that will help them become a profitable trader. That's the end goal at the end of the day. I'm not doing this for exposure or, you know, to be popular on social media. I don't really care about all that. This is just simply to show how I became a profitable trader, how my brain thinks while I'm trading, and then maybe somebody watches this video and they can take something that I'm doing in the market and apply it to their trading and help them become a better trader. Because that's at the end of the day, that's all I want. I just want a bunch of profitable traders. Like, I feel like the space needs more serious traders that want profitability and not just people that just want to come on here and entertain and LARP and, just fake the lifestyle essentially. I want more people to actually want to live the lifestyle and come on here and learn the markets, learn the concepts, learn the confluences, and be serious about trading. Like trading it can change your life if you take it seriously. But yeah, that's enough from me today. Kind of went on a rant, but is what it is. And yeah, see y'all boys next week. Hopefully another green week. Hopefully you learned something, and I'll catch y'all boys next time. See ya.